What's up, guys? It's the second episode of this new series called Solo Says, where I choose various topics and kind of give the conservative opinion about it and kind of just debunk the opposing view of it. Last week I went over Does God Exist? That was a very fun video to make. This week is that gun control does not work. And let's just hop right into it. So the reason why we have guns in the first place is because of the Second Amendment in the Constitution. And the meaning, let me first read the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of these people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Just to break that down a little bit, the Founding Fathers obviously knew America could turn tyrannical, but to prevent that, what they're allowing the citizens to do is have the right to bear arms, so bear firearms, and be able to defend themselves from the government, essentially. And to make sure that we never become a place like the USSR, like North Korea, like China now. I mean, they kind of foresaw this while they were making the Constitution. And the Founding Fathers were some of the brightest people to ever live, because they were able to create a document that 250 years later is still relevant and still is being upheld, and basically giving us this free nation that we have today. So, Democrats have been pushing for strict gun control, along with the banning assault rifles. And the term assault rifles is completely made up. That is nowhere in the actual terms for these guns. They got this from the AR-15. They just called it an assault rifle 15, I guess. AR stands for Armalite Rifle, which is basically the branding. Another thing that gets mixed up term-wise is semi-automatic. I've heard Congress use, these guns are fully semi-automatic, which makes no sense, because, what do you mean they're fully semi-automatic? It would just be semi-automatic. And semi-automatically essentially just means that when you shoot it once, you don't have to rack it back for it to shoot again. That's all it means. So it's shoot once, shoot once, shoot once, shoot once. That's it. That's fully semi-automatic. Then the fact that these politicians are coming after high-capacity magazines, another thing that does not make sense. Think of it, right? You have like a rifle, you have a pistol, whatever. They limit it to 10 rounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10. You click the button and you just pull out another mag, cock it back, and then you got another 10 right there. Was that 2-3 seconds? It makes no sense. And the reason why I would be advocate for more a higher capacity magazine is because think of 3 to 5 people breaking into your home at once, right? There are a group of guys breaking your homes, trying to get your things, trying to get your stuff, trying to threaten your life. It's 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. You're drowsy from just waking up, and you only have 10 shots to hit 3 people, right? And the average American is not going to be going out to the shooting range every single weekend, practicing their aim. There's going to be so much adrenaline going through. They're not going to be the most accurate. So now that you're limited to only 10 rounds, in California, I believe it's less for certain guns because the way the magazines are. And it is absolutely incredible, because it just puts yourself at risk. And now you're going against 3 to 5 guys, and you have to hit them with each shot, or you're going to be, out of luck. It completely makes no sense. And, the Democrats love to pull the emotional card, where it's, these are tragic, we need to make change, we need to stop this from happening. And it is true, death is tragic, and it is horrible to lose innocent lives because of bad people. But we have to remember a few things, right? The first thing is guns aren't committing these crimes. It's not a gun just sitting there and it is going out and killing people. Somebody is wielding that gun, and guns are essentially tools, right? Whoever's using them is going to determine whether it does good or bad. If it's a police officer with a gun or a law-abiding citizen with a gun, that is a good use of that is a good place for the gun to be. If it's a criminal and a bad guy having the gun, of course it's going to do bad things. So, making laws restricting guns is only restricting guns from law-abiding citizens. These criminals who are committing these crimes are breaking the law, so making more laws will not stop them. You think it's common sense, but it's not. And, the left then will compare us. Essentially what the left wants to do is ban all guns. That's really what they want to do. So they compare us to other countries. For example, they say Great Britain has nearly no gun deaths, and this is true, obviously, because they have way less guns than America. So we have to compare apples to apples. So if we look at violent crime rates in both there and here, or Great Britain and America, Great Britain has more violent crime than America does per capita. And, you know, let's say if they think more guns equals, sorry about that. If they say more guns equal more violent crimes, then why has gun ownership in America skyrocketed and violent crimes are on a steady decrease? It's because guns deter crime. You know, as let's put our mind as a criminal for just a second. Okay, so you have two communities. You have a community that is completely armed, and you know they're completely armed. And then you have a community that you know is not armed. Which one are you more likely to rob? You're more likely to rob the people that cannot defend themselves. You know, people will say, you know, that's what the police are there for. The average response time in America is about 8 minutes for police. A lot could happen in 8 minutes, and guns are going to be used to protect people before the police come. Police cannot always be there. And, you know, if we even go into the gun deaths in America, 54% of them is suicide, so we could take out that. So out of the 50,000 deaths every year, only 20,000 are murders. I try to find the statistics on how much is gang related. I couldn't find any consistent answer amongst sources. So I mean, I would love to kind of know that. But so you have 20,000 deaths or murders a year from guns, and then according to the CDC, the defensive gun use in the United States is anywhere between. So this is according to the CDC and almost every major study on defense gun use. They found Americans use their firearms defensively between 500,000 and 3 million times a year. It's such wide because not everywhere reports the statistics, not everywhere. Sometimes just showing the gun stops the crime and is self-defense, and that's not always reported, so that's why it's wide. But let's take the low number, right? 500,000. And compare that to the 20,000 lives that are murdered. How is this like a conversation that we're having? And, you know, the delusion of America needing more gun control is ignorant. Politicians are just trying to make change where it doesn't need to happen, right? So let's compare Illinois and Vermont. You know, Vermont being one of the safest states in the country, and Illinois hosting Chicago, which is definitely one of the most violent cities in the country. So Illinois has strict gun laws, but Chicago is one of the most violent cities in America. Very strange. Vermont has basically no gun laws and is one of the safest states in the country. The murder rate in Vermont is 1.8 in the city compared to the state is in the city of Chicago is 28.6 per 100,000. I mean, this is a huge thing. In Illinois is super strict on laws or on gun control, super strict laws on how to get a gun. Vermont virtually has none. This is completely insane. So we have to think, is this because of guns, or is there an underlying reason causing these people to commit crimes and kill each other? I would point towards a lack of policing and the culture inside the city, right? It's gang violence. It's people who, what I'm basically saying, it's not the guns, right? It's something else other than the guns. That's all I have it for this video. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And tomorrow I'm starting my biblical series where I talk about God, the Bible, and how it's relevant to your life. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to format it yet. I think I'm going to go basically start with Genesis and just work my way up or to the New Testament. And yeah, so make sure to go watch that this Saturday or tomorrow. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night.